Welcome to this explainer. Today we're tearing down the illusion of success that can completely derail a growing business. As an organization scales, it's so tempting to just obsess over top-level financial data. But the actual health of your operation, that's hidden in the everyday, non-financial details. Your tickets, your orders, and your returns. If you don't know how to decode these operational metrics correctly, you could literally be celebrating a huge success on paper while your customer base is quietly falling apart. Let's get into it.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be exploring 1. The support ticket illusion, 2. Unpacking delivery cycle time, and 3. Root causes behind returns.
So let's jump right into Section 1, the support ticket illusion and the constant battle between speed and quality.
To really grasp this, I want you to picture a mini scenario with me. Imagine a company rolls out a brand new customer service protocol. End of the month rolls around, they check their dashboard, and they're absolutely thrilled. They're boasting this drastically low, lightning-fast average ticket response time. On paper, the service team looks like rock stars, but in reality, they're secretly plagued by a massive 50% reopened ticket rate. Literally half of the problems they claim to have solved are bouncing right back to them.
Now, this highlights a really fascinating mystery. If our speed is technically perfect on paper, why is customer satisfaction completely plummeting? How can a metric look so incredibly green while the reality on the ground is flashing red? We really have to look at how we measure success in these customer interactions.
To crack that mystery, we first need to look at the official definition. Ticket response time tracks the exact span from when an order or an issue is initially logged by the customer all the way until it is fulfilled or closed out. Naturally, the longer this time frame drags on, the less likely your customers, whether they're internal or external, are going to be satisfied with your service. So that initial instinct to shorten the response time, that is totally valid. But here is the absolutely crucial takeaway. Closing a ticket at warp speed with a superficial response might make your metrics look fantastic, but it completely fails to address the root cause. If your agents are just slapping on a quick Band-Aid or firing off a generic automated reply just to clear their queue, the customer's actual problem hasn't gone anywhere. And that leads straight back to those reopened tickets we talked about in our mini scenario. A reopened ticket is a glaring red flag that your incredible speed was really just an illusion of efficiency. All right, moving to Section 2, unpacking delivery cycle time and the anatomy of an order.
When it comes to fulfilling customer demand, we have to analyze our orders incredibly closely to ensure delivery happens within an acceptable time frame. We track this using an operational metric known as delivery cycle time. Simply put, this is the total overarching time from the very second you receive the customer's order up until those finished products are physically shipped out the door. It is that entire window the customer is stuck waiting for their commitment to be fulfilled.
Let's break down the actual anatomy of an order. A super common mistake in management is looking at delivery cycle time as just one giant, unchangeable block, but it actually has two very distinct phases. Point 1 is when the order is received, and that kicks off what we call wait time. Point 2 is when actual production starts. That exact moment is when wait time ends and throughput time begins. And finally, point 3 is when the product is shipped out, which officially ends the throughput time. It is absolutely vital that you do not confuse these two halves, because fixing them requires entirely different strategies. Wait time happens strictly before you build. It's the time an order is just sitting in a queue waiting for materials or for a machine to free up. Throughput time, however, is the active phase. It is strictly the period from starting production on that customer's order until the moment it ships. If your overall delivery cycle time is lagging, you have to diagnose the exact bottleneck. Are your orders sitting idle in wait time, or is your actual manufacturing process during throughput time moving too slow?
That brings us to our final phase, Section 3, root causes behind returns and how we investigate the fallout.
Way too often, companies view customer returns as just a financial write-off. A simple cost of doing business. But they aren't just a cost. They are an absolute goldmine of operational data. Returns have to be forensically analyzed because they reveal severe downstream problems in your process. A return might indicate a major product quality issue where manufacturing failed. It might expose an order fulfillment problem, like picking errors where your warehouse sent the wrong item or the wrong quantity. Or if the return happens a bit later on, it might point to warranty defects where the product worked at first but broke down prematurely. When you really think about it, the timing of discovering a flaw is everything. If a product quality issue is caught prior to dispatch, or even better, early in production, it's an internal fix. Yes, it costs money, but it's contained. But if that defect is discovered late,
meaning it's discovered by the actual customer, that is incredibly worrisome. Why? Because it actively destroys your brand's reputation and quality perception in the market. Sending the wrong items doesn't just stick you with heavy shipping and replacement costs, it completely shatters customer trust.
But to get the complete picture, we can't just look down the chain. We also have to analyze purchase returns. This flips our perspective upstream. While customer returns tell us what we messed up for our buyers, purchase returns help us identify problems with products, raw materials, or order fulfillment that were actually caused by our own suppliers. If a supplier consistently sends us defective parts, our purchase return metrics will flag it. By tracking both, we bookend the entire operation, holding our suppliers accountable on one end and guaranteeing quality for our customers on the other.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty provocative question. Are your metrics hiding your mistakes, or are they actually helping you fix them? Are you just measuring a superficial illusion of success, like a lightning-fast ticket response time that actually just leaves your customers more frustrated? Or are you truly digging into the root causes, breaking down your cycle times, and forensically investigating every single return? True operational excellence isn't about making a dashboard look green. It's about using these non-financial measures to uncover the truth and build a genuinely better business.